one's rolling. That one's rolling.
We live on one. We live on two.
Live on Twitter. Live on Instagram.
All right, live on two.
Live on that one. I think that this whole thing has shifted to the.
I think so too.
Right, a little.
Yep. And there is live on Facebook.
Yeah, give me just a second.
All right, wait for the watch party. The last item. And then we'll be all ready for this.
Ooh. Okay. That always happens?
Always happens. All right, there's the watch party, so we are live. Good evening, everybody. Day 20 of Crazy Cabin Fever Cocktails. I am Tim Diddle with Distilled Living. It is definitely spring here in Kentucky. And we would normally be watching the races. Now we're just watching the horses' races we drive around, which is we're keeping to a minimum. But when we go out and we look at it, and I can see some horses from where I am, so I'm at least trying to enjoy the weather and the classics of Kentucky. And the most quintessential horse race cocktail is the mint julep. This is the cocktail that people mangle more than any other. And it's easy to screw up and do it badly. And a lot of people just absolutely detest them because they've never had them made properly. But remember, this was the breakfast of choice in Kentucky for a long time, especially back when Kentucky was in Virginia. It's well documented. It is a bracing, slightly sweet, kind of jump-starting, quick drinking cocktail. I'm going to show you how to do it really, really well. So we're going to start with a classic mint julep, made properly. Then we're going to move on to a more complex version using some tea from Elmwood and Tea. Then we are going to do a mocktail version of that one. And Elmwood had partnered with Woodford Reserve on the construction of that recipe, so we're going to use Woodford as our base here. And Woodford Reserve is also the official bourbon of the Kentucky Derby, which is now in September. So there you go. All right, now I'm going to start with my julep cup. Mine's a little worse for wear because I actually use this occasionally, so that's why that looks the way that it does. But I have a nice classic metal julep cup. And I am going to take one sprig of mint here. I got a little crust in the refrigerator, but it's all right. And I'm going to strip the lower leaves. I'm looking for about 3 to 5 pretty good sized leaves. And I'm reserving the rest of that, so hang on to that. So most people are going to tell you to muddle these beautiful mint leaves. If you muddle improperly, most people don't know how to muddle properly, you're going to just grind a lot of tannins and you're going to get flecks in there and it's not going to work. So instead what I'm going to do is drop these down to the bottom and then I'm going to roll my cup and press the leaves in order to press the oils out and up against the glass. And I'm going to work my way from the bottom, coating the entire thing up to the lip, and then I've got this little nice wad of mint leaves and I'm going to run that right around the lip to give that a little bit more aromatic. So now I have a mint scented cup. Now, ice. Julep gets crushed ice. The true way to do this, Lewis bag and mallet. This is super fun. You fill this with big ice and you beat the hell out of it. That is also very, very loud and takes a while. If you don't have a Lewis bag and mallet, Ziploc bag wrapped in a towel and rubber mallet that you might have lying around works pretty well. But I cheated and got some crushed ice in advance because I knew that it would be very, very loud and would take me forever. So,
since most refrigerators have a crushed ice button, or a lot of people do.
But it's totally what we did. I pulled it out a little bit early and so it started to freeze back together. So, and then I'm using a julep strainer because I find it's a better ice scoop because any water, any melted ice would drain right through and give me a better drink. Now you want to fill this to overflowing and you're about to make a mess and that is totally fine. You've got your mint of the mint julep. Now we need some sweetness. This is a sweet drink. This takes a full 1 ounce of simple syrup. And that is going to go right over the ice. Now, classically, it's going to get 2 to 3 ounces of bourbon. I'm going to go with 2 just as a little responsibility element since I'm doing this live and in front of the internet. Now, here's where the real mess begins. So I'm going to take my bar spoon, preferably using a bar spoon, but whatever you've got will make do. And I'm going to have to break the ice that has, see, I lost some already. Break the ice that has stuck to the side of my cup. And then I'm going to try to spin it. I'm spinning the ice to stir this to integrate it. That's going to pull that mint oil off the sides. And it's also going to cause me to lose a little bit more ice as I am making this. You're basically making a bourbon mint slushy. Alright. And that is probably good enough. Okay. Final important step. The mint that you have reserved. This still has a wonderful aroma and bouquet on it. You can smell it a little bit like that, but what you really want to do is press it. In which case, this case, I'm going to slap it, and that is going to break a lot of those cells and really release the strong aromatics. And a note about the mint choice that you use. You want to use a good soft mint, like a Kentucky Colonel is ideal for this, or, let's see, this give me a little bit of trouble getting it in there. All right, or even a spearmint, which you don't want to use as peppermint. It's just too biting compared to other mints. And then your straw goes in right next to your mint leaves. So you should be inhaling the aroma of the mint. I couldn't quite get it as beautiful as I wanted.
You could take a little bit off of the stem and it would sit better in the cup.
I got it. Yeah, I could. I just didn't have the right tool for that. And that's actually really quite delicious. Now, I always like to ask people, why is it served in a metal cup? People always say, oh, it stays colder longer. And so I'm looking around, this crowd, most people will say that. And I always tell who's either a chemist, a physicist, or a engineer, because they're always like, waiting to see what I'm going to do. What I'm going to say, metal's a conductor. It's not an insulator. That is not going to stay colder. That's going to get warm really, really fast. And it's on crushed ice. Crushed ice has a big surface area. It's going to melt much more quickly. This whole thing is going to dilute really, really fast. This is not a slow sipping cocktail presented like this. This is a quick sipping, cool off, get refreshed, get a little buzz on, good to go cocktail. That's what this is for. Lore has it in Kentucky that a proper mint julep should take 7 minutes to make. That includes harvesting the mint, and 7 minutes to drink. Bear in mind, if you are doing a 3-ounce version, drinking it in 7 minutes, that's a lot of alcohol. So we're leaving it to that. It's kind of your first get you started drink. Okay, so that is our classic mint julep right there. Now I'm going to do this variation that an Elmwood was very kind to send us some tea to work with, so we're really thankful to them for that. So their recipe calls for muddling the mint, and as I said, most people struggle with muddling. They grind at it, they do all sorts of things. The proper muddling technique is not going to be the focus here, so what I'm going to do to protect my mint a little bit is I'm going to drop the mint leaves down to the bottom of my shaker there, and then I'm going to put my ice over that, and then I'm going to add the rest of my ingredients. So I'm going to use, I'm going to start with a tea. So this calls for a whole cup of tea, which is going to make this whole thing really big and a little bit challenging, but we'll get there. Alright, that's right about a cup. I brewed that up earlier and let it chill. And then an ounce of simple. 2 ounces of Woodford Reserve. And this calls for Tuaca, which is an orange vanilla liqueur, which I do not have. But I have an orange liqueur on my dry curacao, just have a triple sec, so I'm going to use a ½ ounce of that. And I actually happen to have in the back some vanilla vodka. So that's going to be the other half of my orange vanilla flavor profile. Just a ½ ounce of that. I've not actually made this before, but I'm excited to try it when I've got it all put together. And then I'm going to shake it, and this is going to crush the mint hopefully without completely destroying it.
And as always, we'll have recipes online afterwards. We'll have both the classic, the one that Tim's making right now, and then at the end, the mocktail.
Yep. So, I'm going to need some more fresh ice in it. I did not quite get enough. That's okay. We're not using the Lewis bag and mount, so I can get out of the refrigerator here in a minute. Alright. So, now because I have particulate in here, this isn't just all liquids. I am going to use my Hawthorne strainer, which is going to take out a lot of the solids, and I'm going to use my fine mesh strainer to get out the rest of it. Oops. Splashed a little bit down the side. Don't that even look nice? So now let me find a little more cooperative piece of mint there. I'm going to take off the lower leaves because they don't work as well. And it doesn't say to do that, but I like to do that anyway. My straw. You know the straw was invented for the mint julep? True story. And one last little touch to make this a little bit more elegant. This calls for a little orange garnish. So I'm just going to do it just like that to be different. And there we go. That's really good. It's a lot more complex than a classic mint julep. There's a lot of flavors going on there, but it's really, really good. And this is called, I set it aside so I remember, Kentucky Tea Julep. Simple, straightforward, really delicious. Now, I'm going to make some noise because I ran out of crushed ice, and I've got to get some more. Hang on one second. Alright, I'm back. Magically I have more crushed ice. You notice that I'm using a copper mug. It's a variant of a Moscow Mule mug because I don't have another julep cup. So this is what I'm going to roll with. So I'm just going to do a built-in glass version of the last one that I made but without any alcohol in it. So I'll set aside another one of the alcoholic ones there. I'm going to do the same thing with the mint leaves, but I'm going to use twice as much mint as I used in the previous ones because this is going to be much more driven by those kinds of flavors instead of anything that we're getting out of the alcohol. So I have the mint that I reserved from the last cocktail that I made, from that garnish. And I'm going to roll this around, come up on the lip. I'm going to get all the mint leaves out of there. And then I will discard that. So now I've got my mint constructed. My mint against the glass. I'm going to do the same thing here. My inordinate amount of crushed ice to make this work. And I'm trying to make this visible. Now I'm going to use my tea as my whiskey replacement. So I'm going to use 2 ounces of this. Should put that in last now that I'm thinking about it, because some of the other ingredients are smaller. So I'm going to go ahead and put the smaller ingredients.
I hate to interrupt here, but should you be using a cup instead of 2 ounces?
You could scale this up. I'm using like smaller amounts of the other mixers because a whole cup plus the other mixers plus the ice won't fit in here, right? That's why I had a larger glass before for the last one. So that is a good question. And I'm going to use some vanilla extract to replace my vanilla vodka. That's plenty of that. And then I'm going to do a little orange. I have this fresh orange, right? So I'm going to do a little orange squeeze. That's probably plenty. I will need my ounce of simple. Because again, me juleps are sweet. It's just they are. If you want a less sweet drink, make it your way. So now I've got my mint, my orange, my vanilla, my tea, which is also functioning as my whiskey replacement. And I'm going to move this over my cutting board because I am going to make, see how it just wants to, the ice just comes right out of it. That means you're doing it right. That means you have enough ice in there if you spill it when you mix it. Got a good stir on that. It has frosted up nicely. Slap my mint. Let's see. I might just leave this on top. Let's see about doing that. Ideally, I would have straighter mint, but we get what we can get from Kroger right at the moment, you know? Okay, and my straw. And I'm going to do another orange onto here, just to make it a little bit more festive. That's really good. It's really sweet, but it's really delicious and refreshing. So there you go. We've got 3 cocktails for you, or 2 cocktails and a mocktail. Classic mint julep. Do it right, respect the mint, don't muddle, just press, discard it, slap the mint at the end, build it all in the glass. This really nice cocktail. Thanks to Elmwood Inn for sending us the tea and sending us the recipe that we used for that one, and the mocktail. And we'll have all the recipes up online before tomorrow.
And our next episode of Crazy Cabin Fever Cocktails will be next Wednesday, as far as we know at the moment.
Yep, still doing research on various things, so keep sending us those ideas that you have.
Good night, everybody.
Cheers and good night.